Okay, this is the start. I'm building the tunnel in the corner of the layout. Got the plaster bandage ready, and I've invested in a sheet of chicken wire material rather than a roll. Before I actually started to build the tunnel, I realised it would be sensible to work on the tunnel mouths, because they would need to be built into the structure rather than added on afterwards. So I invested in some Metcalf tunnel mouths, and these have been built, and I'm really glad I did, because they totally altered the perspective of the tunnel. So anyhow, they're in place, not fixed in place, but they're there, and we've tested the rolling stock through the tunnel mouths. I've now fastened on a collection of pieces of wood, which I might well put a piece of hardboard or something on the top to create a level surface to model on, or I may just go for the chicken wire rolled over the whole lot. We'll see what works best. Okay, so we're part way through building this tunnel. Afraid it's taken quite a while. So many distractions with life. It looks a lot higgledy-piggledy and amateurish, but then fortunately the real world isn't level and pristine either. So it's on to the next part to try and mould the side of the hills out of chicken wire and plaster bandage. Right, we've reached the next stage where the chicken wire has been put in place and the plaster bandage has been applied, looking a bit flat and square, but we'll put that right with the further layers of scenery. Even remembered to cover the track in the tunnel as I worked. So hopefully that won't be covered with little bits and splashes of plaster. Well, apologies for the fact that it's been quite a while since the last video. Winter is always a quiet time in the garage because it's quite cold, but this year's been even worse, as I've been building a layout for my grandson, which is great news. He now has a 6 foot by 5 foot baseboard in his bedroom. Brilliant. Anyhow, we were going to build this tunnel, which we have built with the traditional style of chicken wire and plaster bandage, using the Metcalf cardboard single track tunnel mouths at each end. I haven't got any buttress walls or retaining walls yet, not sure whether I'm going to use those, and uncertain what buildings to put on the top. Currently we have the Metcalf Crofters cottage, and I think it's a farm worker's cottage there as well, but I'm uncertain whether that will blend in with the timbered buildings in the back scene. So currently I am undecided whether to use these buildings or to go totally different and use the Metcalf public house. It has the same sort of structure, though the roofs don't blend in. So I'm unsure. Obviously a lot of scenery to put onto this raised bit of the layout, and I have to say it would have been a whole lot easier to build if I could have got permission to move the freezer, but as you would be aware, that breaks the first rule of modelling. Don't upset the other half. Anyhow, we'll let you know what gets on, how I get on, and what we actually finish up doing on this small part of the layout. Okay, we have a bit of progress as we begin to work on the top of this tunnel. The back scene has been generally tidied up with 1 or 2 more pieces put over the top of the gaps. A couple of trees put in, hedges along 2 sides of the corner. Decided to go with these 2 stone buildings of Metcalf's. Think they probably fit the best. Dividing the land up so that there is a kind of semi-cultivated bit near the buildings where we'll possibly put some garden, maybe even some garden furniture. And then there'll be a fence that we're going to install around there, and then the remainder of this area will become much more rougher. We'll probably put some animals on it grazing, and down to the sides we'll begin to need to put various growth and bushes there to fill in around the 2 tunnel mouths. This side here, working out what to do with the stone buttresses from the side of the tunnel mouth, and what to have out the side. I can't decide whether to have just a footpath or whether I had to push the boundaries and have a single track road. Put a lorry there just to try and give me a bit of perspective, but that's how far we got. Some more fencing to put in yet, with lots of little holes to drill. Oh, don't we all love drilling those little holes for the fences? So, progress continues. We begin to disguise the area around the tunnel mouths on both sides, and on the top we've managed to insert a couple more trees. The fence is now finished with a sort of coiled together gate. We're just now working with landscape materials to see how best to disguise the flat bit on the top, and also the more severely sloping part down the side, using various scatter material and other bits and pieces that out of the store cupboard, and it's beginning to look not too bad. Okay, I think this will be the final part of this video, as this corner is fairly well on. We need to revisit it for the finer points of the modelling. There's no people on yet, and obviously gardens and things like that for the properties will go in later. But we've got a couple of horses in, some sheep in the grazing area. The hillside is now complete, and both of the tunnel mouths are now masked. When I came to work on the bottom of the hill, I realised that the pieces of cork that I was going to use and the structure I was going to build there wasn't going to work, because it was going to foul the railway, the double loop down the bottom. So I've used some Metcalf building sheets, some of the stone ones there, and I've just created a wall around the side. This will obviously need to be finished off, and I think this will probably be the next stage of modelling that we'll need to do as we work along the layout towards the station on the branch line. Anyhow, been fun doing this. Good to get back to modelling in 00 gauge. Those of you who have been following will know that I've previously modelled in N gauge, so this has been a bit of a learning curve to get back to bigger things. But yeah, not too bad. Quite pleased with this. As I say, more to do on it, but we'll move on to other areas now.